Yes, prediction.
Pain. We run the clock. Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football time of year don't stop.
You're adding this guy.
Just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16. Serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show where you dream.
Ain't no bias. Chris Zorich breaking truth. Traded in the golden helmet in the past for a suit. With the tape, never lies. College ball, he's a stoop. Breaking the top 16, not the top 32.
I don't mean to cut you off like a Zorich jersey, but you ain't really grinding unless the jersey dirty. Hit the running back like a Mack truck behind the 30-yard line. It's game time. My team riding off the sideline.
You look at Chris like this with a fact checklist, going over college teams like a 50 scientist. Steve streaking from his head like in his playing days. Super 16 polls on his show straight away.
It's the FBS, the best of the best from the ACC to the SEC. Pac-12, Big Ten, Mountain West, Sun Belt, and the Big 12. Open your eyelids, who the best like the clock. Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football time of year don't stop. With Christopher Zorich, just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16. Serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show where your dreams.
What up, everybody? Hello, this is week 6 of the Super 16 poll show. And we have some really interesting wins and losses this week. Before we get started, I would like to bring in Phill Ottochian because he has something to celebrate as well this weekend.
I do? Oh. Yes, Iowa beat Penn State. That was good.
Might there have been something else that happened?
No, yes. The Chicago Bears go out to Las Vegas against the Raiders.
Vegas, baby.
All that drama going on with Gruden's getting worse tonight, Chris. I got a text from my buddy who's telling me some of these emails that have leaked. I don't know if he keeps his job, to be perfectly honest. You're hearing it here first.
Really? It was that bad, huh?
Oh, I got to text you because I don't want to put it on the show and ruin the show. But I got to text you what my buddy in the league sent me, as well as Shane also sent me this.
Well, he would know.
Oh, he's the smartest man. Smartest man. I will text it to you so you can read it. It is bad. It is bad. I
love what Richard talked about. He thought the announcer was going to be Hofstra.
Bringing back football at Hofstra. I wish. I know the Hofstra alumni are that. But, yeah, let's just be honest. The Chicago Bears go out there. I didn't see this happening, especially with the loss of David Montgomery, the identity. They went in there. Obviously, the Khalil Mack revenge game. You know, everyone points to England when they had that matchup, but that's not like going to someone's house.
Sure.
And now you're facing off with fans from the Raiders and going back and facing off against Gruden. On top of these comments that came out already, the racial overtones of the comments, now it's gotten worse tonight. I'll just tell you.
Wow.
But the reality is the Bears took care of business. And listen, I'm fired up still because I want championships. There's too many opportunities that went to waste out there. And you have a diamond in Justin Fields who proved himself when probably the biggest part of that game, making that third down pass to Darnell Mooney. And then all of a sudden, Matt Nagy's conservativeness has to come into the play of quarterback power to the short side. When you can put the game on, let the kid waggle out to the right side, use his speed, give him a run pass. If you don't want to throw and stop the clock, I get it. But you're kicking a field goal either way. There's so many things I will get into on keeping it 100. The Matt Nagy ain't off the hook with me. I know Kyle Brandt's going on a whatever, a diatribe, whatever it's called, diatribe about fans and the city of Chicago. No, the city of Chicago has endured Matt Nagy for 4 years, bro. Let's keep it 100 there. But great win. Now it sets up perfect, Chris. I'll be coming out to Chicago this weekend. Can't wait to meet my boy, Chris Zorich. And we're going to have a big tailgate party in the South Lot pre-game. And then a post-game. Bears Hour Live will be live from the parking lot.
Sweet.
Post-game. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be a lot of fans, a lot of people from TTNL all coming out to Chicago to embrace the oldest rivalry in football and the greatest one with which you played in.
I was very fortunate enough to play in them, yes.
I know you took a lot of pride as well when you played in those games because you lived and knew how much it meant to the city and to the fan base. And I don't think that ever should go on deaf ears. I really don't. I really, really, truly don't, Chris. You played real quick. Then we get into the college. And I think it's important because there's a lot of Bears fans that tune into your show. They love you. You are a 3-time All-American, college football Hall of Famer, and you were a tremendous football player in the NFL, no matter what Chris tries to say about himself. I'll give him his due because you were the ultimate. Rudy has a movie, but Chris Zorich was the real underdog that made it into the league and played that game, and that's my true story. So talk about your experience real quick with the rivalry, but what it truly meant to you.
Real quick,
yes,
right?
Real quick.
So, being a kid growing up in Chicago, having a chance to kind of see the Bears in the 80s, for me, it was kind of this thing that everybody literally in Chicago did on Sundays, and that was watch the Bears. And so for me growing up, I remember when, and I forgot the name of the linebacker, but this linebacker took Peyton out of bounds, like over the bench, right? So that was part of it. Then I remember when I think the linebacker's name was Wright. For some reason, I remember his number. I think it was 93. But after the play was over, Jim McMahon standing there, and literally the linebacker picked him up and slammed him.
Yeah.
To the turf. Now, again, these are moments I witnessed as a fan. And so, you fast forward a couple of years, having a chance to be part of that rivalry was just an amazing, amazing experience. And I had a chance I spent 2 years with Mike Ditka. He's the one who drafted me. And kind of seeing him on the sidelines chopping his gum, swearing to all hell, and seeing Green Bay on the other side was great. I had a chance to play against Favre. I think I may have had like a half a sack or 1 sack against them. But it was interesting because understanding that rivalry, and I was still, Mike Singletary was still there, Richard Dent was still there, Steve McMichael was still there. Guys who played during that Super Bowl time, they were still on the team. And so you saw kind of that infectious excitement about this game. And however, there were guys that were like, hey, this is just another game. And it's like, well, yeah, this is just another game, just like ... right? Just like Boston playing the Yankees. Any type of rivalry that you want to talk about, this was it. They were founding members of the league. This was something that was not only special to Chicago, but also to Green Bay. And I will have to say, in order to be a rivalry, you have to go back and forth. So unfortunately, after Mike Ditka, Dane Wannstedt came along, and then that's when it started to be kind of a landslide with Green Bay just destroying us. And then after that, guys were kind of like, well, yeah, this is just another game. It's like, well, guys, it's really not. But then again, a rivalry is you have to beat them. You guys go back and forth, not like 5 Green Bay wins to like 1 Bear win, and then it's 8 Green Bay wins against 2. Exactly. It just got. And then I think what was really telling during that period, and they improved over the years after that, but during that period, I saw a stat, and this is when Favre was retiring. he was playing for the Bears for the last time, and they had a stat that had Brett Favre, one quarterback during his time for the Packers. Favre was, I forgot how many years he was there, but then they showed the exact same amount of quarterbacks that the Bears had during that time.
I remember this.
It was like 30.
It was crazy.
And I suffered through like 20 of them. Dave Watson, he brought in Rick Meyer. He had Moses Moreno. He had Steve Stenstrom. These are
Dave
names.
Craig.
They absolutely, man. Eric Kramer
Cordell
was there.
Stewart.
Steve
everybody. Walsh.
Everybody. Steve Walsh. Exactly.
Everybody.
Literally, I'm sure somebody has that tape out there. It's crazy. There were like 15, 20 quarterbacks during the time that Brett Favre was, which again is very telling. But having the chance to kind of see the fans, understand how rabid folks are about these games, and I think Lovey kind of endured himself in his press conference when he became the head coach, and he said, "Hey, my number one objective is to beat Green Bay," and people love that. That really is what this town is about. So you're gonna have a blast this weekend. It's not supposed to be that bad outside. I think it's only supposed to be in the 70s, so it's going to be a great day for a game. But normally I kind of think those games should be played, in like
November.
Well,
cold.
Like maybe 30 below type
30
weather.
below, little sweat,
below.
like the steam blowing off your head.
Exactly.
Like the lyric.
So there's this awesome, and I don't have it up, but there's this awesome photo of me sitting on the sidelines during a Packers game. I forgot what year it was, but it was freezing cold outside. And of course, I didn't have any sleeves on or anything, but you just saw the steam come off my head. And then I didn't know this, but every year they have a photo of the year that they present at the Super Bowl. And whatever year that was, for me, that photo won.
Really?
And then what was really cool was not this Super Bowl, but 2 Super Bowls ago, I did not go, but I had a friend who went, and he was like, "Dude, Chris, you're not going to believe this." So he took a picture in front of like this 100 by 100 size photo of that photo.
Oh, cool!
Because they were able to show all the photos throughout all the Super Bowls each year, and that was, I want to say maybe like 95 or 96, but it was amazing. So that photo won that award, but that was from the Green Bay.
It inspired a lyric for me.
There, exactly. See, who knew?
Steam streaking off his head, like in his playing day.
See,
Super 16 pole. Zorich show straight away.
Speaking about that, okay, we have an exciting. How about that for transition? We had an exciting, amazing weekend of college football, and it started a little early on Friday. There was some interesting games. As we know, Stanford, who I'm a strong proponent of, wanting to see those teams do well. They unfortunately, the wheels fell off and they wound up losing, but they're not in the top 16 this week. But there were some amazing games. Obviously, we all know Alabama lost. There were some kind of lower ranked teams that wound up not playing as well. We saw a great matchup with Arkansas and Ole Miss. That was a great game. Went down to the wire. So it was just an exciting weekend, I think, for everybody. Even if you weren't a huge SEC fan, you weren't a huge Big Ten fan, there were just games for everybody. And of course, there was that amazing game, Penn State and Iowa, which obviously was a great game. But we will first kick it off with last week's Super 16 poll, I think. There we go. So that was week 5. Arkansas was in there. Florida, Stanford, Michigan, Kentucky. Again, amazing season for Kentucky. Oklahoma State. Finally, Michigan State got in there. BYU, Oregon. Number 7 was Ohio State. 6 was Oklahoma. Well, we're going to have a lot of fun talking about the Red River rivalry, or Red River patty cake, or Red River showdown, or whatever they're calling it now. Cincinnati, obviously, had a great game. Penn State, Iowa, Georgia, and of course, number 1 was Alabama last week. And I think that it's going to be very telling to kind of see how the poll changed, especially in the top 5, which makes it very interesting because Phil and I have been talking about what's going to happen down the road for the college football playoff selection committee, right? So we're going to see some changes. And I assumed that it was going to start changing later on in the year. But oh no, there's this team called Texas A&M that just joined a few years ago in the SEC, and they wanted to make a statement, and they did, and they beat them some Alabama. So we will get into that. But let's go to this week's Super 16 poll show with number 16.
Number 16, Ole Miss.
Now, this is really interesting. They won the we got the crap beat out of us bowl, which was they wound up losing to Alabama, and then their opponent, Arkansas, wound up losing to Georgia. And so this was we got our butt kicked by number 1 and number 2 bowl. And really, I kind of wanted to see this game. But this game was in our top 5 because I wanted to see kind of who bounced back best from this game. And obviously, you had a chance to see Mississippi kind of bounce back. Although it was a great game, again, went down to the wire, 1 point, 52-51. But here's the thing now, and I love kind of talking about this because I can do it now, but I could never do it as a player, but you kind of think ahead, right? So they really have a chance. This is Lane Kiffin now. It's crazy-ass Lane Kiffin. He has a chance to honestly go possibly 11-1 or maybe even 10-2. Now, they aren't going to win the division, but he has a chance to really make a statement this year, and it's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to the next game, which, again, is Tennessee. But, again, he has a couple opponents that are lined up. They are going to play A&M, which is going to be a couple weeks from now, and that's going to be a huge game. But the idea that he's thinking, that Lane Kiffin is thinking that he has a chance to literally go 10-2 or possibly 11-1, I think is going to be really, really interesting. It's funny, Richard talked about the optional defensive ball. I think that was more in the Red River rivalry where we're talking about where I didn't even think they had a defense on the actual field, but that's something we can talk about later. So now we go to number 15.
Number 15, Wake Forest.
All right, now Wake who? Right, because that's the same thing I was looking at. I was like, what? Now, y'all know they're 6-0 right now. And actually, quite honestly, the best team in the ACC. Now, who would have thought going into week 6 of the football season that Wake Forest would be the best ACC team in the country? And I'm just doing a quick glance at my Super 16 poll, and they're the only ACC team in that poll. So that's really a tough, man. You talk about having a really rough season, or excuse me, the conference is having a rough season. I'm sure Jim Phillips from Northwestern, who's the new commissioner there, will definitely be turning it around. But when you think about what that means, I mean, that means that there's no Florida State, there's no Clemson. I mean, come on, guys. Let's be honest. I had Clemson in my top 5 in the beginning of the year, and I know Phil was giving me a lot of crap because I kind of kept them up there. But again, it was one of those things where they deserve it because they had that reputation. They had the horses. They had the players. But then all of a sudden, guess what happened? They dropped, and now I can't even see them. So it was a rough one. But again, Wake Forest is in the top 15 in my Super 16. But it's just so interesting because they came out of the blue, which is amazing. And their quarterback right now is throwing over 1,600 yards, Sam Hartman. And it's kind of interesting because they have a chance to kind of enjoy this win over Syracuse because they're going to be on a bye, which I think is going to be interesting because it'll give them a chance to kind of heal up and allow this to kind of soak in. But again, I mean, realizing what they have a chance to do. I mean, obviously, there's going to be an ACC championship. We'll see who ends up in that. But I'm telling you, this is a surprise. I mean, this is the biggest surprise for me of this whole week is that we have a team called Wake Forest that no one knew about that all of a sudden was kind of an also-ran and then now is the best team in the ACC, which is kind of very interesting. So let's move to number 14.
Number 14, BYU.
Okay, folks, this one was a huge disappointment for me. This was a rough one because they were the second team kind of that group of 5 folks who had a chance to kind of be in that conversation. They were in the top 10 last week, and they're now, when you look at the schedule, it's not that tight. I mean, it's really not that rough, and they wound up losing to an unranked Boise State. Again, you can't do that if you want to play with the big boys. I know a couple of years are going to be moving to being from being independent, which they currently are, to the Big 12. And that's going to be fun. But, I mean, this was their chance, right? So you had a handful of teams that had a chance to kind of at least make a conversation of it, right? So they're going to be the UCF. They had a chance to be the UCF of 2021, which was, hey, you know what? We went undefeated. We're in the top 10. Give us the respect that we need. But that's not going to happen. And again, it really ruined their season, unfortunately. And, you know, you're only talking about a couple points, but when you look at that, they were in the top 10. They could have had a chance to go to a big bowl game. They travel well. Folks in Utah love their football, so folks would have traveled. But I mean, that might be the only thing they'll be looking forward to. They dropped five spots to number 14. So let's talk about number 13 now.
Number 13, Florida.
Now, this is kind of cool because they had a chance to move up. They wound up beating Vanderbilt 42-0. Again, they're supposed to win these games, but it was kind of one of those situations where, you know, you had some teams losing, and I don't like doing this, but you kind of have to move them up anyway. I mean, there's some teams like right in the middle or a couple spots ahead that now have stayed there after victories. But when you're kind of in that bottom 16 and new teams are coming in, you know, you have to be careful. I mean, you have to really show that you can go out there and win. And again, if Vanderbilt was ranked and they beat the crap out of a ranked team, bam, you know, they're going to get that respect and move up higher, but they only moved up 2 spots. However, they have a chance to really play spoiler in a couple weeks because they have a chance to play Georgia, who obviously is having an unbelievable year. But in order for Florida, and I think, Phil, we talked about this before, we thought Florida was going to do well this year, and they actually didn't. Or I'm sorry, they wound up kind of embarrassing themselves against Alabama, but they tried. They almost beat Alabama.
Right. They
and
almost
then
beat them.
now you're seeing that they're actually, unfortunately, going to have to play the role of spoiler this year.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, the quarterback kid who was great size and athleticism ended up getting hurt.
Yeah. Yep.
So it kind of like threw that momentum off for Florida. But I mean, that Alabama game again is the measuring stick every year.
And they were there.
Right. They were there. It was a 2-point conversion or something
Yep.
that they couldn't get. So, but here they are in this situation. And just like you're saying, I agree with you. They're playing good football, but they're only going to be able to play that role of spoiler because of the win-loss record. I mean, that's what it is, especially in college football. You go undefeated and you're in a big conference, you're going to get the benefit of the undefeated season pushing you into the playoffs.
Right. And this is why Kentucky, who wound up beating them, I mean, this is why.
Huge win.
And we kind of talked about that before, and I think we want to bring a whole segment of a whole 80s segment on the last time that Kentucky beat Florida, right?
1986.
We had
Top Gun.
We had Family Ties. I know Family Ties is up there. Was it Growing Pains? There you go.
Cosby Show.
But
Who wants the Jello pudding?
Wow. But I mean, here's the thing. So Florida now, I mean, it's tough. Like, where do you find that motivation, right? You say, hey, we have to go out there, play every game because it counts. Hey, who knows what's going to happen? But, understanding that, your role now is going to be playing spoiler, and they're going to be playing a LSU team who I think is going to have to go out and redeem themselves because they wound up losing to Kentucky, one of my all-time favorite teams. I'm so excited about the Wildcats. It's unbelievable, man. I can't wait to kind of talk about them. But it's one of those things where we're going to see kind of these kind of run-of-the-mill teams in a Wake Forest, in a Kentucky, are now kind of these. They're the go-to teams. They're the teams that are now playing well, which I think is shocking.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about college football, and you've said it. It's nothing like it. The Wake Forest, what are they? The Demon Deacons.
You know what? The Deacons, baby.
Demon Deacons. I saw them play Army a few years back. I think 7 years, because the boys were twins in my wife's belly at that point. So 7 years ago, Wake Forest Army. Now they're out there in the Super 16 pole show, baby. They're out there,
best team in the ACC.
15, and they're the best team in the ACC right now.
Who would have thought that?
Who would have thought? Didn't Desmond Clark, former Bear, play at Wake Forest? I believe.
I'm impressed. Yes, he did. And also, so didn't Brian Piccolo? Wasn't he? Did he
I
go to Wake
believe
Forest?
Brian Piccolo was from Wake Forest.
I have an award somewhere.
You got the Piccolo Award?
I did. I got it twice when I was with the Bears. Booyah!
Look at you.
Hey, man.
You. Do you cry at Brian's song?
I have never not cried at Brian's song. I mean, it is. But I think what did you say? Thanksgiving. We're going to talk about our top 16 football movies. Yes,
football movies that week.
That may be number. I'm sorry, I may give it away.
Don't spoiler alert. Come on,
dude. I
Don't
got
be
the
Robin Quivers here. Just giving away the movie.
When my first couple years with the Bears, I did a lot with the Brian Piccolo Foundation, and his kids were always involved. I mean, they had 5K races, they had golf outings and stuff. So, like, for a long period of time, I mean, I was really, really involved with those guys, and kind of felt like they were my little sisters,
extended family
with the Bears. Yeah, and his wife Joy was just absolutely awesome.
Let me say this: a lot of people don't realize that Brian's song was a made-for-TV movie.
Yes, it was.
And then they made a second version of it,
and that was so updated. They tried to update it, but it was like,
Nah, exactly. That's what I was going to ask.
You got James Caan and Billy D, man. Come on, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that is very true, Chris. That is very true. Your poll just got upgraded tenfold.
Hey.
It's like the Grinch's heart.
Well, here's this. I'm going to try to, at one of the breaks, I'm going to try to find my my Brian Piccolo Award in a show to you. It's not one of these behind me, so I do apologize about that. All right, let's go to number 12.
Number 12, Michigan.
All right, go blue for my. I was waiting for that one. For my boy Rick DeLeon, who is a diehard Michigan fan. He's excited about this. And also Cherie, I know she's very happy about me talking about Big Blue. The idea that they were able to move up to number 12. Hey, man, here's the thing, though. So they beat a really bad Nebraska, y'all. I mean, come on now, let's think about this. And was only by like a field goal, right? So, hey, man, please, let's talk about this, because they want. If you look at their score, hey, Phil, can you pull up their schedule? Now, they haven't played any of the rough folks in the in their division yet. They got Michigan State coming up. They got Penn State coming up. They got Ohio State coming up. So let's take a look at first.
They got Northwestern coming. Northwestern, October 23rd.
Okay, well, here we go. It may be a game, right? Because you got, didn't Nebraska just shellac Northwestern last week?
Yeah.
Like 5,500 to 2 weeks ago. Okay. So, but then look at Michigan's schedule. And this is, I mean, I've had a chance to talk to Rick about this.
Halloween weekend, the day before Halloween, Mischief Night.
Okay.
Michigan State versus Michigan. There it is. Number 8 in the country versus number 10 in the other poll.
What man, this is my producer talking about another poll. Come on, man.
I'm just keeping it. This is whatever.
You're supposed to be keeping it 16 and you're not,
Indiana.
Bro. You're supposed to be keeping it 16, man. You're not. Serena, I need you to
November 6th.
I need you to come in here and take over from my boy Phil. He might get fired.
Indiana, Chris.
No, I'm talking about.
And then November 13th. Oh, who have they beat?
Yes.
Western Michigan. They opened up.
Okay.
Then they beat Washington.
Okay.
Northern Illinois.
Okay.
Rutgers.
Oh, well then, hey, they deserve to be in the top what?
Wisconsin.
Okay, so at that
and
time,
Nebraska.
At that time, they were coming off something. So I don't know who said 12 really. So Richard, I'm sorry,
Rich Gordon and Sheree. You talking about me, Purdue? Sheree's questioning the hope.
I'm just saying. I mean, at 12. I mean, you tell me should they be?
I like where you got them
above Michigan State. They can't be above Michigan State. I mean, there's a couple teams in there that they moved up 2 spots.
We got breaking news here, Chris. Did I call it?
Wow, that's impressive.
Breaking news. I don't even have that breaking news drop. Ladies and gentlemen, John Gruden. Not only did he get embarrassed by losing to Matt Nagy, he has resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, and what year? Is this year 4 for him?
This is year 4, I believe. Okay. Sheree, can you check that? On a 10-year, $100 million deal.
Oh!
So he is no longer the head coach of the Vegas Raiders. I told you, right? At the beginning. So this was maybe a half hour, 40 minutes ago? Look at you, man. About a half hour ago.
DDP in the house.
Well, I got to shout out the smartest man for shooting me that text and showing me. I'm going to send you the text, Chris.
Please do.
So you can decide whether or not you would like to share it on the show.
No, this is a college family show.
Exactly.
You don't need to be dropping any racial epithets or
yes,
any
we definitely don't want to. Definitely. I think he offends every group in this email. But the thing, real quick, Chris, I want to ask your personal opinion.
Real quick.
Gruden joined the Raiders in 2018. So January. So that means he got a 10-year deal. So yeah.
Year 4.
Yeah. Do you like someone going back into someone's emails, digging up this kind of trash and then releasing it 11 years later?
See, this is hard, right? Because there was that kid, he was a basketball player. Mm-hmm. And he was in the pros at this time, but they went back to when he was in high school, and he said some stuff. Now, I can't tell you what's going on when I'm 16, 15 years old, what I was saying.
Right, exactly.
I mean, that's not fair. However, but again, I don't know what was said, but
I texted you what he said.
I'm involved in a show.
I know.
I'm just 16 poll show, so I'm trying to make sure my audience gets the true feeling of being on a live show, as opposed to, reading while they're watching you read. So that's.
I apologize.
I want to respect my viewers. I want to respect my viewers. Maybe they care about the Super 16, unlike you, who decide to quote numbers from other polls. But
I'm just saying.
That's okay.
Anybody can look up the other polls.
I
believe in your poll. Doesn't even matter because I believe in your poll.
I'm just trying to keep it 16.
I'm keeping it 16 right now. I like where you put Michigan.
Man. I need a shirt now. Keeping it 16.
We gotta get a keeping it 16 shirt. Because I said that when you, I don't know if I was on. I don't know if you could see if I was on camera, but I literally laughed out loud, put my head down because you got me with that keeping it 16. I love it. Hey, TTNL, Alex Acevedo, get on.
There you go.
Ron G can make the graphic.
Hey,
keeping it.
It needs 16. to be that. It needs to be that super 16 too.
Keeping it 16, right, baby.
Exactly. Well, but okay. Getting back to Michigan. So I can't think of, and please somebody tell me.
He just wanted to shout you out, man.
All right, I appreciate that, Adam. Thanks, man. Thank you much respect.
Adam getting a shout out.
Absolutely.
Adam's middle name is ND. Did you know that?
That's even better. Not a script, right? Not a script.
Not a script.
When was the last time, and maybe Sheree can tell us, when was the last time Michigan and Michigan State game was this important? Was this going to be this hyped up? Now, I know it's not coming up, but in 2 weeks it is. So I'm just kind of laying down the groundwork for that. So that's something, our listeners can think about.
Remember they got screwed with the punt block return?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh
but I don't know if were they ranked at that time?
Yes. They were going to the national championship if they won that. They would have been undefeated. They lost that game. Oh my God.
You're right.
That was devastating. Right. Mark's still crying in his freaking Cheerios, your boy. He's pissed I brought that game up.
Well, and my boy also gets pissed when I bring up that team that was unranked and beat Michigan when they were 2 or whatever.
App State.
I'm not even allowed to say the name anymore, so I know he's gonna.
Can you shorten it at least? App State. Just getting apps. Just getting appetizers. What are you talking about?
All right, let's go to number 11.
Number 11, Oklahoma State.
Now, even though they had a bye week, God, I look great, don't I? Even though they had a bye week this week, these one of the teams that actually stayed at number 11. And again, depending on where you fall and who's winning, who's losing, you're going to get moved up naturally. But I felt as though the teams ahead, the teams behind, they kind of should have stayed there. And they're going to take on a Texas team that is going to be pissed because of what happened in the Red River Showdown, the Red Rival, or the Red Patty Cake, the Red whatever it was. But I'm excited because I love the Oklahoma State game. That's the Battle of Bedlam. So I want to go to that game before I die. That game, I want to go to the Red River Rivalry game, and want to see a game at Texas A&M and go to the pep rally the night before. I think those are one of the kind of most gratifying if you're a college football fan that you want to see. And also, I would like to see a game in Death Valley. I heard that was just absolutely unbelievable. So I've been to Penn State where it sucked there. It was just terrible. We actually talked about that in the first show. But we have Oklahoma State at number 11. Again, they have a huge game against Texas. I think they got to be careful because Texas is going to be really pissed. But again, if you look at their schedule going forward, they could actually make some noise if they're able to kind of stay ahead of Texas. So let's go to number 10.
Number 10, Michigan State University.
All right, here's the other school that we've been talking about so much. Again, it's kind of nothing impressive about this. They wound up staying at number 10 because they beat a bad Rutgers team, which they're supposed to. So, again, I'm not going to move them up if they're supposed to beat these teams. And if you beat bad teams, then, I'm not going to do that for the sake of putting them higher and higher in the poll, which, again, I can kind of talk about Michigan again because Nebraska isn't that great, and folks are excited that they beat Nebraska. So there we go, Tao. I like that. So I am a huge Mel Tucker fan, who's the current coach there. I think he's doing some stuff. And when was the last time Michigan State was actually ranked over Michigan? I know it's been a while, so excited about that. Again, they have a chance. Again, looking at their schedule, looking in the division they're in, they got some really tough games. So, my philosophy, again, is taking this one game at a time as a player. But, as fans now, we can look ahead and say, hey, this is going to be a great game in a couple of weeks. So Saturday, they'll be playing Indiana. And again, everybody was talking about how great Indiana was. Last year, they had a great, great season. But I think it might be over for them because they kind of captured lightning in a bottle last year and kind of got screwed out of becoming the Big Ten champion. I firmly believe that. And they did not have a chance to go on and compete after that. And they wound up giving Ohio State that opportunity to go on and do well. But again, taking one game at a time, not looking ahead, they have a chance to really make a statement. And that statement would start off obviously beating Indiana, but then they go into another number 12, Michigan, and have a chance to play them. Again, it's going to be interesting. And I think now the Big Ten is actually an exciting conference to watch now, considering they have so many teams that are ranked in the Super 16. So let's move to number 9.
Number 9, Kentucky.
I'm telling you, man, I was not a Kentucky fan. I am a huge Kentucky fan now. I am so excited for these guys. It's about to hit the wall, though. But, you couldn't tell me that going into this year, Kentucky was going to be 6-0. And I think Stoops is doing a great job there. But kind of more importantly, for a long time, they were kind of that bottom group of the SEC, the Vanderbilts. Kentucky was down there. Kentucky's a basketball school. But they came out and they had a chance to beat some good teams. And again, we talked about it last week, the amazing win they had against Florida. But now you're talking about, when was the last time, Phil, maybe you can comment on this, when was the last time Kentucky beat both Florida and Georgia in the same year?
I would never know that.
This is...
Are we talking basketball?
Exactly. This is kind of their boast. This is their boast. They got to be hyped.
Oh, my God. You talk about electric. You could see the electricity of Kentucky and the fans. And just think about being on the bottom so many times. Like, we're joking here in regards to 1986. Footloose was out. All this stuff was going on. So it has been a long time now.
Well, I'm sure if you throw Florida or if you throw LSU in there, now we might be going back to the 70s or 60s, man.
Yeah.
All type of craziness was going on.
Dean Martin might have been a star then.
They might have had the Frank Sinatra show might have been on during that time. Yeah, but
Bob Hope was still going on.
Right, exactly. But see, that's why I'm excited. I love this chance. We had a chance to talk a little bit about kind of the excitement Wake Forest is going through. This is kind of the same excitement that the folks in Kentucky. They got to be losing their mind. I think the last time they had this much hype was when they had that huge quarterback.
Oh,
the real big dude.
Name?
He was slanging some stuff.
The hefty lefty.
Yes.
What was his name?
Slanging some stuff.
Tim Couch as well.
Okay.
Tim had that hype, but the hefty lefty was probably the last time.
That was more recent, yeah. But
yeah.
imagine
The heck was that dude's name?
Beating
He's still trying to play.
I'm sure someone. No way.
I
Are you
swear,
serious?
someone sent me footage of him last year. He's like 320,
Ooh.
throwing balls out there. I swear.
Ooh.
He's moving around. He looks like Anthony Adams out there.
Spice Adams running around.
Spice Adams running around with a helmet and pads.
Oh my Lord!
I thought it was a joke.
Spice kind of slimmed down a little bit.
Yeah, Spice.
Yes, he has.
Spicy.
Looking good on his Instagram and stuff like that.
Good.
So they have 3 defensive linemen who are going to be out, who's 3 starters, and I hate to tell you who they're playing next, bro. Georgia. So I think they're going to hit that wall, man. I think now if they hopefully they score, they do a little bit better than Arkansas did, right?
Right.
But we may be talking about Georgia in a couple. I'm not sure, but we can kind of finish talking about them at the time later. But I mean, 6-1 after 7 weeks, I think they're going to be excited about that.
Yeah, they're building something special there. That's what you want to see. And listen, this game of football is on my father would always say, it's an oblong ball. It could take some weird bounces.
Hey.
You have to be in preparation for those bounces. Every inch matters.
I like that. I really do like that because, when you think about the opportunities or the excitement that is coming around the football crowd, again, along with Wake Forest, I mean, these are teams that are beating teams that they're not recruiting against. I know I kind of talked about that before, but you can't tell me that Kentucky, they're getting 5 and 4-star athletes. They're not, versus LSU and Florida, who are.
Right.
So I give them much respect because they have a chance to kind of overcome that with coaching. Yes. Right. And the hard work aspect, although in the long run it may not last because they're about to run up to a buzzsaw in Georgia. But I mean, I'm sure they're going to give an effort. Hopefully they can put some points on the board so they won't be embarrassed. But at the end of the day, man, this has been a great season so far for both Wake Forest and Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. That's going to be the game for me because I want to see. I always believe like the preparation part, what you talked about, the coach. Right. How does he have them prepared? If they're psyched out of their socks, then they're not going to be able to win. If they're prepared and confident, then all of what Barlissimo's talking about, all of the NFL products that have come out of Kentucky in the last few years, all of that stuff starts to matter. Because I don't know, like as a parent, how I'm signing up, and I don't want to go down a whole thing, but we should talk about it at some point. All of these kids going to these same schools, like, wouldn't you want an opportunity to tell your story, not just be another great running back from Alabama who didn't get his opportunity? Wouldn't you want to set the stage for your story and go to another school like Iowa or Notre Dame or whatever, if you're 5-star, and make that journey? It's just something that I think we need to talk about at some point this year, because I think, to your point, the reality is Alabama and Georgia have continued success because the next man up is just as good as the first guy. So you might have a team of great guys, right? Yes. One guy gets hurt. Now you're suffering. Now,
or not even hurt, but he just needs to take a breath.
He needs
just needs to take a couple plays off. And you're that corner. You're like, damn. Okay, this is a
you got a cramp, and all of a sudden they're throwing a deep ball down the field to change the whole game.
Right.
Where Alabama brings in their third corner, and he's a possible pro in a year or two. That is where the advantages become disadvantages for teams like Wake Forest, Kentucky. I always use, though, this will be my last point here, I always use Army as a perspective for trolls and blog boys, because University of Army obviously ain't getting 5-star recruits. Maybe they don't get 2-star recruits, but they work on fundamentals, technique, pride every time they get in their stance. So there's something to be said for coaching when you look at Army going up against Notre Dame, for example. It's not a shot at you. It's just the reality of nobody else plays them, right? Big time school.
Absolutely.
Well, get into a little fist fight with all of a sudden Army's still in the game. Wait a sec. They're running option down the field on you. Triple option.
I've been there. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've been there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're going to kill no, their guard and their tackle seamlessly are firing out, staying low, square. They're like, technique is flawless.
They both weigh about 250, and they just jamming me up. Oh, absolutely.
That defensive tackle's 325. Stephen Tuitt. I remember this. He's dominant, first-round talent, right? He's getting blown off the ball by the Army guard and center. He's just boom, and they're running belly up the middle out like 15 times. But there's something to be said for coaching. So Kentucky right now, this guy is on fire with this team. It's going to be exciting to see, like you said, because Georgia is honestly so deep. So deep.
Lord. All right, let's take a look at number 8.
Number 8, Penn State.
Okay, for all my Nittany Lion fans, we had a drop of 4, and that was because they lost to a great Iowa team. I mean, this game, so you can jump back in here. I didn't have a chance to see all of it. I saw like a half. It was Big Ten football, bro, and I love it. Oh
my God! For me, as a coach's son and a coach, that was so much fun for me because.
How'd your guy do?
My guy did great. He was out there, but again, Penn State. They are loaded on defense, man. And their defensive back, that kid, number 1, he is an amazing player. Like the awareness of that football player is special. But then on top of awareness, he has elite athleticism. But that being said, Chris, we went out for dinner. So we were at a nice restaurant here in Connecticut, in Middletown, a newer place called Sicily. And they had all these TVs around, and the Iowa game wasn't on. They had, I forget, TCU. I go up to the waitress. I go, can you please put the Iowa Penn State game? She disappears for like 20 minutes. I'm watching this stream of the game on my phone with my wife. I'm like, this stream sucks, number 1. It keeps freezing. So it's like, he's back to and a first down. And I'm like, finally they got it up, and I was able to continue to watch the game because got it. Happy wife, happy life.
Oh, absolutely.
So we had to go out for dinner, and I was like, that was the one game I was looking forward to. But I ended up seeing it was just obviously the Penn State quarterback getting hurt affected the whole game, but that Iowa defense. They lost that corner too. That kid, that's going to be a hurt. The kid Moss at Iowa, he's a special talent as well. That kid Moss, but what a game! Like you said, if you love football, like all of it, Iowa Penn State was a old school smash mouth action game. Getting the eye, 2 tight ends, waggles going on. It's like I loved it. Traps.
Had a little something for everybody. But I actually was not able to see the game I mentioned before, most of it, because I was fortunate enough to go to the William and Mary Tribe football homecoming where they beat Albany.
Really?
So that was fun. And the reason why we were in the area is because we had a chance to kind of do some stuff with Coach Holtz, some of his former players.
Oh,
and
really?
so having the chance to and he actually coached at William & Mary way back in the day. And so it was real cool. One of his players, Joe Montgomery, is now the chairman at William & Mary. And he's done some amazing things there. So he kind of invited us back to kind of have a chance to hang out and experience what William & Mary football was like. So I had a chance to get away with the victory. It was their homecoming. It was great. Mike London is the head coach now there, who was actually used to be at Virginia for a little bit.
Right.
He's
Former Bear Robert Green from William & Mary.
Also,
Mike Tomlin,
they
right?
have a current player. Yeah, no, they have a current player actually on the Bears.
Really?
They were talking about him. Yes, he's a special teams guy.
Really?
And I think he might be on year like 5 or 6 too, from William & Mary.
Wait,
they were kind of pumping him up.
DeAndre Houston Carson?
I think it might be.
Holy I think he is from William & Mary.
There you
That's
go, man.
right.
See, look at that,
How
man.
did I forget that in my head?
I'm throwing out
Chris,
Bear stats? What?
You brought it up. And
what?
I got to admit, David Montgomery's probably my number one player on the team.
I would assume so, yeah.
Houston Carson is my number 2.
Really?
Yes. There's just something about Houston Carson. The ultimate professional, always in the right place.
Nice.
The complete underdog. Okay. Every time he's out there. Even this game, he had the interception.
Yeah. Yep.
A tremendous that interception, I don't think people even appreciate. The receiver has his hands on the ball he's going to catch it.
Right.
He comes slick like Orange Juice Jones back in the day. Comes right through, steals that cat. This guy, he needs Eddie Jackson should be sitting. Houston Carson should be out. I know the politics. That's where politics are. But shout out to William & Mary College. Houston Carson. I'm a big fan of that football player.
Go Tribe. But it was cool because he had a chance to kind of see, I had a chance to see personally kind of really kind of how another football program operates and kind of the operations of it and stuff like that. It was a really good time, and fans out there are just as rabid as they are at any other school. So that was great. Penn State will have a bye, and then they'll have a chance to kind of lick their wounds again and hopefully take it out on Illinois. So Brett Bielema is going to have a rough time with a wounded Nittany Lion Penn State team. So let's go to number 7.
Number 7, Oregon.
Okay, I know we talked about this last week. Oregon was on a bye. And just this Stanford loss, I just can't get over. And that really was a chance for them. And the Pac-12 needed this because for so long they've been out of the conversation of the top 4 in the college football for the college football selection committee, and this was going to be their strongest bet. And then Stanford turns around and loses to who they just lose to. I totally forgot who they just lost to. But that's going to be kind of a rough road for them. And it's going to, even if they win out, they're not playing any more ranked teams. So, a disaster is going to have to happen for the teams ahead of us. Arizona State. Yes.
Herm Edwards.
There you go. So, and although Arizona State is doing better, after you come off beating the number 3 team in the country, it's hard. Now, again, the reason why we all love college football is because we have a chance to kind of do some things, and unranked teams have a chance to beat number 1 teams in the country that we saw. But again, this is why we like college football. But there's just some opportunities that are just kind of too perfect, and they've been kind of waiting in the wings for so long. And this is going to be a chance to kind of prove themselves, and they are not going to have that chance to. But they're have a chance to redeem themselves. They're going to play, I think, maybe a 2-3 team or 2-4 Cal, or maybe a 1-5 Cal right now. But it's not going to be a great game. They wound up moving one spot again just because the folks in front of them had some losses, folks behind them had some losses. They did not play at all, had a chance to move up one. I'm kind of firmly against that, but I really had a hard time trying to keep them where they were, and kind of add these other teams. So let's take a look at number 6.
Number 6, Ohio State.
All right, the Ohio State University had a chance to move up one spot, and after they demolished Maryland 66-17, again, one of those situations where these are teams they're supposed to beat, but at least they're actually doing it. Again, it's a really controversial issue. Some folks say, why are you doing that? Why are you running up the score? I mean, at the end of the day, these are plays that the coaching staff put in for this game. They want to get kids on tape. They want to give kids an opportunity. Having a chance to play against another opponent that not in practice. Maybe your second or third team guy doesn't get as many snaps, as many reps. So now they have a chance to. So I am firmly for these teams going out and beating these teams. And if they score, they score. Now, granted, I mean, if it's, a couple seconds left in the game and you're throwing bombs to win the game and the score is 66, 17, whatever, then that's not right. But having a chance to go out there and compete, but at the end of the day, your players are competing as well. And so allow them to go out there and do what they do. Allow the second, third team guys to get some snaps, know how it is to be in game situations and play. And you will be very surprised, which I'm sure a lot of folks were there. But again, Ohio State, this is a team that they were supposed to beat, and they beat them soundly. They have a bye week, and then they're going to play Indiana. This would be kind of maybe Indiana can get hyped up for this game, but just one of those games where I think Indiana got a raw deal last year, and Ohio State wound up stepping in and taking over for them because the Big Ten decided to change rules literally like not even mid-season, but like toward the end of the season. And the whole controversy was you're supposed to compete in 7 games, and Michigan wound up having a COVID case, and that was going to be Ohio State's 7th game. So they wound up only playing 6, and then they wound up advancing to the Big Ten championship, which they should not have been allowed to. So that's my 2 cents. But again, if you're putting up the points, God bless you. Let's move to number 5.
Number 5, Oklahoma.
Oh, my Lord, Phil, we got so much to talk to about this. So much. My Lord, my Lord, my Lord. First of all, the excitement, the pageantry, the Texas State Fair is where this game is played. You cannot get any bigger than this game. Outside of maybe the national championship game, I mean, there's
7,000 plus in the stadium. So loud. You got the fairgrounds out there, the energy, the rivalry, and then you saw Texas take that lead, and you're like, this is going to be a blowout. They benched.
First of all, they do not play defense.
Yes.
They benched my guy, who I thought had a chance this year, who I know you talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
But Spencer Rattler.
Character always, the cream always rises to the top.
I have a couple of stats here that blew me away. I didn't see this kind of during the game. I saw it, but really didn't pay attention to it. I read this later, wanted to write them down. So Caleb Williams came in.
Oh, this is crazy.
You know about to talk about that? I mean, these stats are just absolutely insane, bro.
The fact that he didn't play high school ball that year or something.
Here's the thing. How do you sit a Heisman Trophy candidate? I mean, he won one game for you last year.
Yeah. And
coming into the season, he was again one of the front runners for the Heisman.
Yeah, he was.
How do you sit him, keep him down? But then here it is. So this kind of blew me away. Spencer Rattler, 31 plays, 151 yards, 1 TD. Caleb Williams, the guy who came off the bench, 50 snaps, 511 yards, 5 touchdowns. How do you keep that dude? How do you sit that guy down? Then Oklahoma was down 35-17. Your boy Caleb Williams comes in. That's turned around to he put up 38 more points to Texas's 13. I mean, how do you not? This game was crazy.
One of the best games I've seen in a long time. I couldn't believe it.
Crazy.
That whole weekend, it's just absurd how every week college football keeps bringing the fireworks, man. It's amazing.
I mean, you think something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Again, I think my boy Rick and I, who's a Michigan fan, we always talk college football. We always talk about, like, when somebody makes a bad play or whatever, at the end of the day, these are 18-year-old kids. These are 19-year-old kids. These are not professionals. They're not getting paid, right?
Right.
So they may have other things going on. They may got some stuff going on at home. They may feel nervous about an exam they got to take. They may have some relationship. I mean, these are things that when you put that type of pressure on an 18, 19-year-old kid, I mean, sometimes they just mess up.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a daughter. You have kids. I mean, sometimes they do stupid bonehead stuff.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, when you're playing in front of, 107,000, and then you got a couple million folks watching on TV.
It's like lighting a firecracker right there, right? Come on. You have the pressure, the academic, the rivalry, the pageantry, the everything going on. So to your point, and then old momentum in football, that oblong ball again.
There you go again.
That's why this is the greatest game in the world.
Love it.
People can argue on both levels, college game, pro game. I just say football, high school football, little kid football. It's the greatest game to teach boys to become men, men to become fathers, men to become coaches, whatever it is, teachers, whatever their career is. There's so many lessons to be learned in the game. But at the end of the day, Zorich is correct once again. These are young kids. These are young kids, and they're gonna make mistakes.
And it's hard for us to remember that because as fans, we get so involved in the game. And we have to kind of take back again. These guys aren't getting paid to play this game like they are on the next level. Right. So at the end of the, these are amateurs. These are kids. These are 18-year-old kids, and that's why it's hard for me to kind of judge these kids when I've been in that situation. And had I done something or not listened to my coach, I would be in that same situation too, where folks are saying, hey, Chris, why did you do that stupid bonehead move? Or why did you jump off sides? You think I wanted to jump off sides? I was going to have a chance to I thought I knew the snap count. I thought I was going to get a little edge. And I did, so that's the hard part, right? Is that, do you think this offensive lineman wanted to hold? Well, he probably did, but you know how offensive linemen are. But yeah, but at the end of the day, these are 18-year-old kids. So I would like everybody to remember that when they start dissing kids. So again, I'm just going to throw this out there, not for you to answer, Phil, but what do you do with Spencer Rattler?
I put him on the bench, and because I make the coaching decision of putting my team first.
Sure.
Spencer has to understand he has a lot of maturity to gain, and what's different now, though, Chris, that wasn't with Ron Paulus and whatever quarterback, you had Tony, obviously, but you've played with some other ones as well. There's the transfer portal. We have to do what's best for Oklahoma and the other guys that are busting their humps each and every week. And we'd have that conversation. And I'm telling you, when I see these QB1 documentaries, you could just tell when a kid is over the line of arrogance,
Wow.
when you're over the line of arrogance,
Sure.
karma's going to come get you.
Mm.
If you're confident, and Justin Fields is the perfect
Mhm.
example on QB1, confident, dealing with all the spotlight and the pressure, but it never was F those kids.
Mhm.
I'm doing me.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
no, I'm going to sign every autograph. And you could just tell. I mean, that I'm a big believer in positivity and putting that energy out there. And we all make mistakes. God, I've made a bunch in my life, but that's where you can tell the great one from the bad one. It's, do you own your mistake?
Right.
Do you work that hard, much harder to get better? I think Spencer's got to have some humble pie and get in there. He made the play for the 2-point conversion.
Right.
So there might be an opportunity that he's coming back in, But to your point, it's not the NFL where this is a business. We're going to do it. So you have now with the transfer portal, it is kind of, let's keep it 100, a business. Now Spencer can, I want to transfer. I want to play at Miami next year. You got to go. You got to go with this kid.
We can talk about that later, but I'm not sure what year. I thought he was a junior. Is he a sophomore? Spencer Rattler? Yeah.
I think he's a junior.
Okay.
I think he's a junior. He sat behind, what's his name? Jalen Hurst.
Right.
He transferred from.
Okay.
And then, I think double check. I'll check it now.
Yeah.
I'll let you continue on the poll, and I'll check what year he is.
Well, thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. But I'm about to go to number 4. Can you throw number 4?
Number 4, Cincinnati.
Okay, my ND fans, please don't yell at me, but I'm on the Cincinnati bandwagon. This is going to be hard for folks. It was hard for me, but they moved one spot up to 4. And the reason why is because I thought there was going to be a huge letdown after the ND game. I did not expect them to go out and put 52 on Temple. Again, who's Temple? Not that great of a team, but I thought there was going to be a letdown because they're having a dream season. I mean, okay, cool, Kentucky, Wake Forest, these guys, man, this has been years in the making. This has been absolute years in the making for Cincinnati to kind of put, and they're showing up right on time. They're showing up right on the time where they now are in the conversation with wins over big programs, with wins that will allow them to get into the top 4 for the college football playoff selection committee. Now, I had a chance to watch some TV, had a chance to spend some time with a whole bunch of football players over the weekend. And everybody they all have their own thoughts about this, but they're in a situation where it's the perfect storm for them. Their toughest team on that schedule was Notre Dame. They beat them at the exact right time, and then there was a team that called Alabama. They lost. So now what I thought was going to happen, Phil, you may want to jump in. I thought this was going to happen at the end of the year, but now we're looking at Cincinnati.
Yep.
Hopefully you're keeping it 16 and watching our poll in the country.
Number 4.
And this team, again, I thought there was going to be a letdown. There wasn't a letdown. Fickle is doing a great job keeping these guys amped, knowing the importance of what the season means. I mean, again, folks have been, and again, watching ESPN and some other shows, folks are saying, well, even if they stay where they're at, top 5, they won't get voted in because of the competition. Look, these guys have they've done everything they're supposed to be doing in order to be considered for the college football championship.
Well, you do run the lines with the Michigan fans. It's because of Central Florida's coming up. Then you got Navy, Tulane, Tulsa,
Yes.
South Florida, SMU.
Yes.
Without Roger Craig and Eric Dickerson.
Without the Pony Express? Okay.
And East Carolina. So that's gonna be
these
big
awesome
question.
Michigan fans. Yeah. Okay. So let's address that. Our Go Blue fans. Wow. Okay. So Go
I'm
Blue
just
is
keeping it
12.
16. I'm just keeping.
Okay. Well, they're at 12. Okay.
Yes.
And Cincinnati's at 4. And the reason why Cincinnati was ranked high was because they had a chance to beat a Georgia team in the bowl game. That a couple of those guys were pro, but again, perfect storm.
Yeah.
And they've been talking about this. And apparently, I just jumped on the bandwagon. I admit it, but apparently some other folks, meaning Bob Bosley, the commissioner of the Big 12, thought they were good enough to have that conversation. So now they're UCF with some BYU and Houston.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a chance to really show what they can do, but they've shown it. And again, as hard as I was on Notre Dame, this was going to be the game for Notre Dame, and guess what? They lost. So
Notre Dame win is propelling them for you here.
Oh, absolutely. Now, again, it's one of those things. How well will Notre Dame do throughout the season, which is questionable. I'm going to comment on that in a little bit, but they're up there now. I mean, they're in the top 5 now. They're in the top 4. And let's kind of talk about, again, I thought this was going to happen later, but there still has to be an SEC championship.
Right.
So we may see a Georgia or Alabama go down. There still has to be a Big Ten championship. We may see Iowa go down when they play possibly Ohio State, which they probably will. And if Ohio State doesn't move up there, they're still kind of low. So a lot of stuff can happen. I just didn't think it was going to happen this soon. I didn't know I was going to jump on the bandwagon again this soon for Cincinnati, but they've done everything they've asked and more. So I think Fickle and that coaching staff, they're going to go on and they're going to keep dominating the teams that you mentioned. They got UCF coming up next.
Yep.
But they're going to keep dominating these guys, and pretty soon everyone's going to say, you know what? They're putting up the numbers. Now, I mean, it's going to be a different story whoever they play, but just the fact that they are getting there is a huge, huge deal. Huge deal.
Yeah, I'm going to push back only on the remaining schedule.
Absolutely.
Obviously, if they're going to have to blow out everybody because they're playing the only ranked team not in the Super 16, keeping it 16, is SMU going down the stretch. So they're going to have to continue. Obviously, you love their quarterback and the explosiveness of their offense. That is the difference. How this, though, we've lived this. You've lived it more so than me. Me as a fan, obviously, in 1AA football, they do it differently. Here, now, obviously, do it differently than back when you did. All the blog boys were in charge of who made it and who didn't. But reality is now there is a playoffs, but to your point, a one-loss, let's say Alabama, one loss Georgia, one loss Michigan, and then, Oregon, maybe, or whatever. How does that deal with Navy, Southern Florida, yada, yada, yada? That's what we've seen in the past.
Right. And as we should. I mean, I want you to, yes, absolutely, judge them on the folks they play. But if you do that, okay, you have to do that across the board. And so that's when I think people are going to have a wide open, or they're going to get a wide awakening when they move to 12 teams for the college football selection committee.
I hope,
because folks are going to be, but folks are going to be, they're going to get more pissed because if
you're not going to please everybody anyway, right? So,
okay. I mean, I'm just
listen,
saying.
12's better than 4. At least you get some answers. So, say, for example, Cincinnati goes undefeated. They win their conference, obviously. And in the Super 16, they're number 2.
Sure.
Right? You put them there, you believe it. And then there's only 4 and they leave them out. You're going to be pissed, right? But in 12, they ain't leaving them out. And then they write their story. That's what I want to see in the greatest game. Let the Southern Florida or Central Floridas at the time write their story. Put them up against, however you want to rank them, 1 versus 12. Let's go. Because we've seen App State beat Michigan. We've seen, sorry, Rick. Rick.
I didn't say it, Rick. I'm just saying. I didn't say it.
We've seen the upset come to fruition on the greatest game. That's how legends are made anyway. So that's even better for me. So 12 is better than 4, in my opinion. So Kentucky might earn a shot to say, hey, exactly. Right now they are, but if they lose to Georgia by 3 points, right? A last-second field goal.
Absolutely.
Kentucky with 1 loss is going to get pushed to the side. When you and I know, like, holy cow, what a game that was. It shouldn't be forgotten. That's my mini rant.
I love your mini rant. Thank you very much, Phill Ottochian, for his mini rant in between our number 4 and number 3 selection here. So we can maybe have our own. I'm going to have one after we finish though, because we'll talk about the small team in South Bend and how they were doing. So let's now look at number 3.
Number 3, Alabama.
Oh, Lord, this hurt my heart. This hurt my heart watching this game. I am a huge Nick Saban fan, a huge Alabama fan. They're doing it right. It was crazy watching this game. And I thought after, Phil, you might want to jump in. I don't know if you had a chance to see it all, but I thought that they were going to come back.
I watched every play.
Dude, I thought they had it, man.
Chris, you know what cost Saban? That he didn't use those timeouts before the half. I don't care what he said to the woman reporter. Coach, you got to force them to punt and give yourself another shot at points. This is a close game. Whole momentum is on the road. So I really felt like if they scored before the half, obviously they weren't playing great. And the toughness of that quarterback to come back off injury. I mean, this is like a movie.
He was limping.
He's limping. They freaking put the tent over him. I go, oh my God, this young
Jimbo went in the tent with him. He was like, oh my Lord, no, please. Listen, let me
Jimbo went to Miyagi, Mr. Miyagi, Daniel's son. He was like,
hey man,
I was saying the same.
Whatever he did, it worked.
Holy
cow. He did, it worked.
I was like, what a game. And then when they had the wide open, they didn't count the coverage and I'm like, oh my God, you're giving this team, you can't give an inch.
Right.
Like, remember the Titans. We're not going to give them an inch.
Oh, there you go.
You have to be. I couldn't believe it. And then for them to do it. Did you see? I'm so pissed because I only saw it like 6 minutes before the show started. But the kicker's mom video. Oh my God.
What was it?
Cherie, I'm going to send this to you. Maybe you can get it on the show. The kicker's mom. They have video of her.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, it's such deep emotion for her son to make this field goal to beat Alabama. So, all I could tell you is that in the late, once he hits it,
I did not see it.
She storms the field. She jumps over. It's the best freaking thing.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
I literally just saw it before the show started, or else I would have grabbed it.
Oh, that's
maybe
great.
You could look for it, Cherie, and find it so I don't have to send it to you.
That is awesome.
I saw it on Instagram. Just look up. I think the kids. Oh, geez. College game day. Someone has it, and it's a split shot. So you could see the mom. Maybe Shane, the smartest man, could send it to Cherie if she can't find it. Somebody's got to have that. But Chris, you got to see it.
It was, but you know, and I'm kind of torn between this because, I mean, you have this amazing tree of coaches that he has, and this was the first assistant that had a chance to kind of take him out. So that is absolutely huge. So
I think we got it here, Chris.
Okay.
Well, she's got it. Here it is. There's his mom right there.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And the girlfriend. Actually, I think it's the girl. I thought it was his mom right here, but that's his girlfriend, I guess.
Oh, it is okay.
His mom faints. His mom's the lady on. Now watch. That's the girlfriend.
That's the girlfriend. Okay,
all right.
That's the girlfriend.
I thought it was the mom.
That's hilarious.
Awesome.
Hey, man.
Thank you, Cherie.
Hey, well,
that's
I'll
what
tell
it's
you,
all about.
I went after that. I mean, you know, she better enjoy that because he's going to be a popular dude on campus for a while.
That is legendary status.
But again, having a chance to kind of look at Nick Saban, what he's done, he's going to turn this around. I feel sorry for Mississippi State because he's going to throw up, if you can, 100 on them. But, and this is this crazy kind of coaching idea. I bet at the end of the day, he's okay with this because his kids had to wear that number one tag on their back for such a long time. Now he can use more motivation. Now he can motivate them in a different way in order for them to be successful. They're not going anywhere, but I think when you have a chance to be a team like Alabama, have that understanding, the discipline, the structure, maybe they needed this. And again, I'm pro-Alabama. You guys might think I'm crazy, but sometimes coaches need to throw something in the mix. Maybe he felt that they were getting a little complacent. Who knows? But I guarantee you this is not going to be the last we heard from Alabama. This is definitely not going to be the last we heard from Nick Saban. But I was amazed. I saw Phill a text right afterward. I was like, Alabama? I was just like, question marks. It was absolutely amazing. So let's go to our number 2.
Number 2, Iowa.
Okay, we had a chance to talk about this before. Phil, what was the last time Iowa was ranked in like the top 5, top 2? I mean,
I can't remember. There was that one year they had a quarterback named Banks. I remember they were in the top 5, and this
is exciting stuff, man.
They always lose to some obscure team. Talk about the letdowns of Iowa that year. I can't remember. I think Tim Dwight was on that football team.
Okay.
That year, and a couple other guys. They had a good roster, and they ended up losing to like Southern Missouri on a weird, something like that. Southwest Missouri. I can't remember, but that's the last time I remember them ranked in the top 5.
Okay.
Maybe back when Chuck Long was playing quarterback.
There we go. But so again,
the Heisman.
Hawkeye fans, folks are going to be totally excited about this. This is great. We had a chance to talk a little bit before, but my
1985 was the last time they were in the top 2.
Wow.
The same year of the Chicago Bears.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. So this is a great year for them. What I just want to keep, and this is the hardest thing for coaches, I think, that are in this situation. How do you keep them focused? How do you keep them from understanding what they've done, the opportunities they have right now? They're considered to be the second best team in the country. That being said, there comes a lot of responsibility with that. So now you practice a little harder. Now their next opponent is Purdue. You don't think Purdue's going to give them 100,000%? I mean, they have a chance to take down a number 2 Iowa team in their conference, have a chance to kind of make a mark. Now, will it happen? Probably not. But this is what's going to happen from Iowa because they have that number 2 on their back. And again, I know this only because for 23 games between my junior, senior year, we were ranked number 1 in the country. And we got everybody's best. And I mean everybody's best. We got Navy's best. We got Air Force's best. We got Purdue's best. We got Rice's best. Those teams weren't that great, but we also played teams like USC, who was ranked number 2 in the country. We played schools like Miami, who was ranked number 1. So these are being able to understand what goes into being a top team that Alabama has done for such a long time. I give those coaches credit. So Kurt Ferentz has a job to do in the next coming weeks because they really don't have any really competitive opponents.
They're going to be without that corner, Riley Moss from Iowa.
They're going to be their division champs.
This weekend, though, Riley Moss is out. That was the corner that I was telling you about. He's an All-American. Right. This kid is an unbelievable playmaker on the corner. So that's going to be a big loss. Obviously, something to keep an eye on. He suffered the injury after he had an interception. Mm-hmm. He was celebrating, and then all of a sudden, so I don't know how serious it is, but he's definitely out Saturdays.
It's a huge responsibility. I wish them the best. Obviously, love Big Ten, love the Midwestern football. So I'm excited for them. My neighbor Nelson is a huge Iowa fan. Like all of his kids went to Iowa. He's paid a lot of money in tuition to go to Iowa. So I feel for you, Nelson, but I'm also very, very excited for you. So that's great. So let's move to a new number 1.
Number 1, Georgia.
Lordy. I did not see this coming so soon. Before I even start, their defense over 6 games has only allowed 31 points. I'll say that again. Their defense has only allowed 31 points over 6 games. I'm not that smart, but 6 goes into 35 times. So, I mean, they literally are allowing teams getting 5 points a game, and there's a couple of shutouts in there too. So that's extremely impressive. We're talking about a very stout defense. More importantly, they're doing it consistently. And this is what we talked a little bit before, Phil, when Florida almost beat Alabama.
Yep.
Georgia beat I forgot who they played that week, but they beat them soundly. And really, this is what you want to contend with. And I told you last week, it was almost 1A, 1B.
Right.
And I was right there on that edge, man, because their defense has shown up. They've done what they're supposed to do, but I mean, allowing 31 points, that's huge.
And
their offense is rolling.
Exactly. Of all people, defense wins championships. If you don't let people score, you don't lose. It's as simple as that. I mean,
yes, sir. I
can't keep it any more 16 than that. And the reality is, when you look at their schedule of who they've played, let's go back and look at some of that.
So
obviously,
there's some ranked teams. Laz, that's a definite possibility. But again, when you look at it, I mean, right now, I don't think Alabama can beat Georgia right now.
Yeah,
maybe
I agree.
We may see something else down the line, but this Georgia team is real.
They spanked Arkansas, where me and you were like, listen, this is exciting. Similar to Kentucky, how we felt about Kentucky
Sure.
going into Georgia.
Right.
You're like, Arkansas has a chance. They beat them 37-0.
Nothing.
Then they come back against a good team in Auburn, 34-10. Now they play Kentucky. Now you get to see, who Kentucky is. But clearly they've been the belle of the ball, in my opinion. Then they play Florida, Missouri, Tennessee, who's playing great football. This dude's got those guys playing.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, there will be some tests. I mean, I'm not saying everything's going to be perfect for them, but I mean, this is interesting. However, I'd be a little afraid. Again, take one game at a time. That's important. But this SEC championship game, I think, is going to be a little bit different because we thought the numbers were going to be reversed.
Right.
And now Georgia, they got nothing to lose. They're going to play the balls out, right? But now all of a sudden, now you got a really pissed off Alabama. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel sorry for Mississippi State because I guarantee you Nick will have those guys balling. They're going to go back to fundamentals.
There'll be accountability. There'll be fundamentals. This ain't Chicago. I'll tell you that.
Everything. And you're going to see a team that's going to go out there, and I think they're going to demolish. And again, this is a lot of things that we talked about it in the first week we started the show, Phil, about sometimes I'm going to talk about some intangibles. And these are one of these intangible situations where, I mean, a lot of folks just think, hey, if you're a good team, you're a good team throughout. That's not true. I mean, if you're a good team, you have to stay consistently being a good team. And that's why I admire Nick Saban so much, is because he's kept them even keel, being ranked 1, winning national championships every other year. I mean, who can do that?
With a freshman
he's
quarterback.
Gonna go down, thank you. He's going to go down as the best college football coach ever. I mean, I'll just say that right now. I'm sure a lot of folks think that as well. But it's during that process. I mean, and again, I did it for 23 weeks. It's hard as hell. It's hard as hell getting everybody's best every week in and week out. And that's what Alabama was doing. So now it's Georgia's turn to be in that situation. Now they got the number 1 on their back. Let's see how they react. And I think because they have a very strong defense, they have an offense that's doing really well, they're going to go on and show them kind of why they're so good. And when you have great defensive players, I think this is going to be Kentucky's, their dream season is going to end. But again, it's going to allow Georgia to play a better competition. Okay?
I can't wait to see it because I really believe, listen, any coach worth their grain of salt or any player, you want to go compete against the best. If you believe that's what you want. It's like I never was. I hope this player's out so we have a better shot. I always I don't want to hear any excuses when we beat you. That mentality, I think, is what Alabama, that mentality, I believe Kentucky. I believe Kentucky believes they have a shot to win.
Sure.
That's what makes this game so exciting to watch.
What are the whys?
What are the whys? Well, the whys are going to be answered. This is perfect for you, Chris. Let's look at the whys. Your tie, unless you had another point about your number 1 team. I didn't mean to. No.
I was done with my number 2. I was just going to go into my Notre Dame rant, but we can talk about our top 16.
Right there.
6. We got Ole Miss at 16. Wake Forest came in again. Great year for them, 15. BYU, we got Florida coming in at 13. Michigan, I know 12. I'm sorry, folks. That's what I think they're at. We got Oklahoma State coming in at 11. Michigan State is at 10. Again, great season for Kentucky at number 9. Penn State dropped a couple. They're at 8. Oregon 7. Ohio State's at 6. Oklahoma is at 5. Cincinnati, again, jumping on that bandwagon. They are 4. Alabama's now at 3. Iowa 2, and Georgia are new number 1. So my Notre Dame rant, first of all,
Is this your final thoughts or a rant?
No. This is just my rant because I don't have a chance.
Notre Dame rant. Whoop,
Yes.
whoop. That's the sound of the police. Here we go.
Wow, that's impressive. It was hard watching that. First of all, it took me forever to find it. As I mentioned, I was over in.
Did I help you with that, by the way?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you how we actually got that done. But we were at this place in Virginia, and I'm assuming Virginia Tech. There might be some Hokie fans out there. This is where we had a chance to watch William and Mary play. After the game, we got back to the hotel, and we weren't able to watch the ACC network. And I'm freaking out. I reached out to my guy, Phil. Phil got me up in this bootleg, some kind of a bootleg something where I was able to watch the game, but I was watching it on my phone because I didn't have like an app where I could throw it on my TV or whatever. But anyway, it was hard watching the game like that. But again, folks, I mean, you're moving quarterbacks in and out. I'm not a fan of that. And I think at the end of the day, Cohen wound up coming back in, winning the game. And I just think that it's hard to watch as a former player because, I mean, everything from the O-line, which again, that's where some of the issues came from. But we're supposed to be dominating these teams that are just average teams in the ACC. And quite honestly, as much as I love kind of Wake Forest run here, when Wake Forest is the best team in your conference, I mean, guys, we're supposed to be beating these teams. And it's hard to watch when I did have a chance, especially hard to watch on your phone for hours, but that's a whole different story. Thank you, ACC Network, for not being everywhere in Virginia. But it's frustrating. And although I'm sure they're going to win out, they're going to need every single play they can get. They're going to have to be perfect, quite honestly, throughout the end of the year. I don't see that happening. There's no way we should be, winning games in the last seconds of games. I'm going to go back before. When you recruit the same teams, I'm expecting competition. When you don't recruit the same players, you should be dominating them. When a team with lesser players is able to stay in the same room with you, when they're keeping the score close, I mean, whose fault is that? That's rough. So that is my Notre Dame rant because they are not in my Super 16. So for the Notre Dame fans who were waiting for that, thank you very much. I saved it for the last because it was a hard pill for me to swallow, even though I watched it on my iPhone. So thank you very much, Phil, for getting me the bootleg version. I do appreciate that. I'm excited because I'm going to talk about my first big matchup. Is going to be number 9 Kentucky at number 1 Georgia. I think this is going to be an interesting game. That and the fact that it's the only ranked game that they're going to top 10 ranking game next week. But I think Kentucky has a lot to prove. Again, I think it's going to be kind of a lopsided win, but I think Georgia's for real, so it's going to be interesting. Number 2, I have USF at Cincinnati. Again, jump on the Cincinnati bandwagon. I thought there was going to be a letdown. There's no letdown. Luke Fickell's not letting these kids rest on their laurels. He's going out there making them practice. I think they're going to win out. But the next game up is USF. They got to go prove themselves. They're going to throw a ton of points up there, and we're going to have a chance to kind of see where they stand. Now we got number 3 Alabama at Mississippi State. I feel sorry for these guys. I'm sure there was kind of a pick after the game with me who's going to play, who wants to play Alabama after they got embarrassed, right? So unfortunately, it was Mississippi State. think it's going to be a good game. I want to see how Alabama's going to bounce back. I mean, quite frankly, we're going to see how well he's coaching, Nick's coaching, and what's going to happen. I mean, this could be a make or break situation. Again, I think they're going to roll in Mississippi State. We're going to have a chance to see. My fourth game is going to be Texas A&M and Missouri, and I'm sure Texas A&M, like, people are like, what? Wait a minute. They took down the number 1 team, and they're not even in your Super 16. But you have a philosophy of if you beat a ranked team, you deserve to go in. I do believe that, but they have to be good teams. If you take a look at the teams I've talked about before, like a Stanford, went in there, did some stuff twice. They hadn't lost these games yet, but if you look at Texas A&M's schedule, they weren't that good, and they lost to 2 teams that weren't even ranked. And I'm sorry, I think one of the teams were ranked. I forgot who it was, but I think it's going to be a good game to see how they bounce back after beating Alabama. If I was Jimbo, I would sit the quarterback down and make sure he's ready, maybe for the second half. Let him get to the rehab. He went and did a yeoman's job out there. He proved to you not only does he deserve the starter, because their starter went down earlier in the season. So this guy's the backup, and he had to like the starter. And oh, by the way, he just beat Alabama. So rest him. You get what he needs. You can go in there and do the Mr. Miyagi thing on him. But I think you should sit him, let him chill. You guys are going to dominate Missouri, but I think it's going to be an interesting game. Another interesting game I think is going to happen. Again, I want to see how teams react is BYU. So BYU at Baylor. Again, this is an independent team that goes around scheduling teams that they feel will give them competition to allow them to jump in that top 10. As you know, they were out of it. They're currently at 14, but I want to see how they bounce back, right? I want to see are they can go out there and dominate again. If they do, although it's going to be hard for them to kind of make that argument when Cincinnati is playing so well, as that it's part of that group of 5. So those are my big 5 games. Philly got it. It's on the script. Wow. See, you're wrong, man.
It's on the script.
You're wrong.
No, I agree with your top 5 games. Obviously, Kentucky and Georgia is the one that we're going to be watching and keeping an eye on. But college football every week, coming down to the wire, these games. I like how you get the alerts. And listen, anything could happen any given weekend. That's
obviously
what we've learned this year.
And it's not just although I do love the NFL, I had a chance to play in there, had a great time in there.
Yeah,
I mean, there's 32 teams. In collegiate athletics, you have at least 100, maybe 125, 130 Division I programs, but then you still have your teams that aren't necessarily, I won't say Division II, but are Division I AA teams that you're excited about, right? I mean, right. I can't wait till the Harvard-Yale game, right? I mean,
these are
games that are good. There you go. See, I'm jealous, but the idea
could come out. We can get some pizza.
Hey, well, it depends on how close that is to Walter Camp. Maybe we can do
yes.
A double.
We're definitely doing Walter Camp, but
I cannot wait for that.
And then we'll do. Hey, next week, can we move the show to Tuesday night, because I'm going to be flying back, and I'm not going to be back. Of course we can.
Thank you for springing that on me. I'm trying to get a guest, and I told the guest that the person
it was actually assistant producer Cherie who reminded me, Phil.
Oh, thank you.
You're going to be flying next Monday.
Cherie, thank you very much for jacking on my schedule. I have to go back and talk to my guests.
Unless Cherie could produce the show, and you guys could do it if that's what you want. If you want to keep it on Monday,
Okay, Cherie, now he's putting me on the spot. Now he's going to make me say, okay,
no,
well,
all right, just think Cherie about the options, and I'll make the promotion over the weekend. I will be hopefully me and you are seeing each other Saturday night.
I would think so. And then after you decided to quote another poll, maybe I might even give you a little punch.
You're allowed to punch me. I didn't honestly think that bothered you, but now that I know,
well, you only
your show
produce
is
the
number
show.
one in my heart.
So you only produce the show, but when I see you comparing our 16 to like what, the AP? I mean,
The blog boy poll. That's what I called it.
Okay, all right.
Well,
yeah.
they're going by that. They need to start quoting
exactly.
you.
Hello, Super
ESPN
16
should be like, wait a second. The Super
Exactly.
16 poll show
on the TTNL
on TTNL has Georgia, Iowa, Alabama, and Cincinnati in their top 4.
Bingo.
Look at
I
that.
love it.
Listen,
right. So,
every week, real quick, we
sorry.
say, listen, this is a show you need to watch, what have you. Last week, I gave Chris the Warrior. Hopefully, he will find some time because that's like 3 seasons long of pure, just don't interrupt me while I'm watching this because it's so delicious. So hopefully, Chris, do you have any shows the fans of you should be watching real quick?
I will come back with 2 next week, but I just had a crazy, insane week. I mean, I was in Virginia for like 4 days that I didn't plan on.
Okay.
And it was crazy. My flights got all jacked up, the weather and everything. So it was even down. My batteries on the phone was low.
Oh my God.
e-reader, that was low. And then
like
I had to, actually had to read. So
the bomb going off, you're like looking at that battery while you're watching Notre Dame, like 10%. Oh my God. Give me a charger.
Yes. And then I had one of those, chargers on my keychain, but of course my keys, I did not have them because I was
Oh my God. Yes. You had the worst luck.
Oh my God.
Where's the luck of the Irish?
Oh, well, we all know where that. Well, all that luck was on that field goal when you made it. So. But
well, this week, real quick, keep it at 100.
Please give me a show.
We will have Dave Kaplan Wednesday night, 2 nights from now, talking about Bears, Packers, Nagy, the whole 9, and former teammate. We're doing a double show of guests. Eric Kramer had to cancel because he had a personal matter last week that popped up. So he'll be on the show this Wednesday night.
Nice.
I'm keeping it 100. So tune in. We'll be live. And then last, I'm not going to play any videos because I know we're running late, but BHL, everything over the weekend. TTNL will be in Chicago. But all of the crew, including Cherie, you'll be able to meet Cherie down at the tailgate, as well as what we talked about, Chris. All of us getting together, tailgate on Sunday. Even if you don't have a ticket, you want to come out, meet and greet the TTNL family, please. We'll be in the South lot. We'll be flying the flags. And hopefully Zorich gets out there. I don't know. They got the red carpet treatment for this guy. I tell you that.
Wow.
But yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. The Bears are 3-2, but listen, I'm keeping it 16. There's nothing like the Super 16 poll show here every Monday night, 8:30 p.m. East, except maybe next week we will be on Tuesday. Yeah. We will let you know that information. I won't put Chris on the spot. This is not the Squid Game.
Wow. Thank God. I don't want to die. Thanks, buddy. Thank you very much.
Red light, green light. That brings us to Chris's final thoughts with Christopher Zorich.
So, folks, to start the final thoughts on yesterday was International Mental Health Day, and I was thinking about maybe doing something else, but then I was watching ESPN College Game Day, and they had a segment on Ryan Day and talked about how for such a long time he was grappling with it. It was hard for him, obviously. It's kind of a family secret, but he really kind of came out and talked, not necessarily on the show, but he kind of talked about his father committing suicide. And I think that when you talk about the pressures of athletics, when you talk about the pressure of academics, you talk about family pressure for these young people in college, mental health is a huge issue that they're now dealing with, thank God. But we've seen it so many times. There was the quarterback at Washington State. There was the women's basketball player at Northwestern. Those are just a few stories of individuals and families that are kind of really wrecked forever, who find themselves in situations where their children have taken their lives. And it's really hard because regardless of your background, these student athletes are under a lot of pressure. And like I said before, academically and also athletically, but also you throw in social media, and if a kid has a bad game, she gets criticized, he gets criticized. As I said before during our show, these are kids. These are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who all they want to do is just go out and compete. Or all they want to do is just go out and have fun. But we as grown-ups, as society, we throw cameras in front of their faces, or we put them on social media when things don't go right. And that's really not fair. I mean, and you've seen it outside of the collegiate level. You've seen it with Simone Biles, right? You've seen it with the tennis player recently. I'm forgetting her name, but the idea of really kind of paying attention to the mental state of our athletes are important. And the NCAA, as far back as maybe 5 or 6 years ago, really kind of took these things very seriously now, and they're providing programming, which is great. But I think it's the responsibility of the schools as well. If they're going to ask us to compete, if they're going to ask these student athletes to compete in the classroom, on the field and everything else, then they need to provide them with the assistance through mental health and wellness as well. So that's kind of my thought of the day. It really kind of circular. It really talks about our student athletes who are in college. And that's really something that has changed over the years. I mean, no one was talking about mental health when I was in college. And there were kids that were unfortunately doing the same thing that kids are doing now, but they now have the help. And it's encouraging to see the NCAA taking on that responsibility, providing assistance as well. And you're now seeing schools employ full-time therapists now, which they have in the past. And when they've done in the past, they've been sports psychologists. They haven't been individuals that are caring for the student athletes' mental health. So that was my thought of the day. And really, I was thinking about something else, but then when I saw Ryan Day talk about it, I was like, wow, this is really kind of something that's not only close to him, and I'm glad that folks on College Football Game Day thought it was important, because it's sometimes an issue that folks don't like to talk about. But at the end of the day, mental health and wellness really affects everyone. So in honor yesterday of World Mental Health Day, I wanted to kind of talk about it on our show.
Great stuff, Chris. Everything that you're saying is so true. And I think, Kathleen is reaching out here. Her daughter is a counselor. And she's developed a mental skill program just for athletes. She was an athlete. So there you go. It's so important in today's, I think everybody, even with the COVID and the unknowns, the anxiety adds up in our lives, no matter what field or what you do, sports included. Another, though, great show. Again, each and every week, Chris Zorich on the Super 16 Poll Show, the National Football Foundation, the College Football Hall of Fame, with a College Football Hall of Famer himself, and the Football Writers Association of America. Got to thank those people for supporting this show and everything that Chris brings to the table here on the Tape Never Lies Network. We'll be live back again Wednesday night. Keep it at 100 tomorrow. They got the One Up Fantasy podcast if you're a big fantasy. And then, of course, on the weekend, we'll be live from Soldier Field at Bears Hour Live. And if you're not a patron, please become one. You get deep analysis and breakdowns of your Chicago Bears. We'll see you next week. For Chris Zorich, I'm his partner in crime here. DDP, Draft Dr. Phil, and for Cherie,
absolutely,
the producer. Gotta love you all. Thank you all for joining this week's Super 16 Poll Show with Chris Zorich. Thanks for watching the Super 16 Poll Show with Chris Zorich. Like, subscribe, and comment. This has been a special presentation of the Tape Never Lies Network. Performance over politics.